Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.
All right, go ahead.
Nick, when the defense is playing well and you're not getting wins, how do you make sure those guys don't get demoralized by it?
Yeah, again, this is the ultimate team game, and one phase has to pick up another, and there could be games like that. There can be games the opposite way. But that's the important part of always connecting with everybody in the building, controlling the things you can control, all those different things.
You open up the offensive playbook just a little bit. How do you balance doing that versus maybe asking some guys to not do something that they're familiar with at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways some things are, it's just a difference of a formation or something like that. There still will be concepts that you've run throughout the year. Maybe you do one with play action as opposed to doing it with drop back. But you always are mixing things and, introducing new things, as the year continues to go on too. As you see, there's sometimes you see something on tape that fits something that you do with a little bit of a difference. And, I think that's just kind of been business as usual as far as that goes, as we put different things in throughout the year. But it always goes back to, does it fit with what you're kind of going for that week? And what your identity is and what you want to do.
Nick, usually when you have a guy coming off IR, you give him a week to practice, and then he'll play in the next game with, you all right?
Yeah.
Marcus Epps came right off IR, hadn't really played defense all year. What made you confident in having him come right from IR to play, and what'd you think of the way he played?
Yeah, I thought he did a lot of good things. We've got a lot of confidence in Marcus. That dates back, obviously to when he was here prior. And then we're really excited to get him back, and until he got injured, was giving us good reps on special teams and even some time on defense. So have a lot of confidence in him and the things that he can do. And I thought he did a lot of good things. Everybody's a little different, right? Just because one guy took a week to get off, everybody's bodies are a little different. Everybody's situation's a little bit different. So not in our written in my notes to say, hey, this guy will go after 1 week on it. It's more like, is he ready? Then you go with it. If not, then you wait another week.
For that, the fact that Lane did not go on IR would suggest this general time frame was a possibility. How's he coming along, and are you expecting him to practice this week?
Yeah, he's working hard. He's working hard to do everything he can do to get back as fast as he possibly can. Obviously, he's a great football player, great team leader. And we'll see. We'll see where that is as we continue on. We got to walk through today, being that it's a short week for us, and then, but we'll see. We'll see as the week continues.
What were your takeaways from the chances Jalen was taking over the middle in the passing game? I mean, there were some interceptions, but it seemed like his timing was better, especially the overtime throw to Devontae. Overall, what was your takeaway from that, and what you could build on? From
particularly the middle?
Yeah, the middle.
Yeah, I think that there was opportunities there that he did a good job of taking some of those opportunities that he was given, and I think he's always does a good job of taking what the defense gives him. Obviously, never want the turnovers, but he did some really good things. I think there was, we can always look at. I'm always going to look at, obviously the win-loss, the turnovers, and look at that and say that. But, there was a lot of good things on offense. And we were able to move the football against a really good defense. Now, we didn't finish, drives for multiple different reasons. And we turned the ball over for multiple different reasons. But there was a lot to be encouraged by that we're continuing to go into the right direction that we need to go to. That will be something that we talk about today, in our meeting. So, but yeah, I thought he did a good job taking what he gave him. And again, there's for different reasons. There were some plays that didn't work out, and there were some plays that were explosive.
AJ had two plays that were drops over the middle of the field, led the interception, then the one in the end zone. I was wondering what the teaching points are on those two, and what kind of your thoughts on the plays were overall.
Yeah. So obviously uncharacteristic of AJ to have drops, no doubt. Uncharacteristic, just like we've talked about with Jalen, uncharacteristic interceptions as well. For both parties. So, I haven't even went over the tape with them yet. I would hate to say, hey, here's the coaching point without, but there's always, sometimes it's, when you talk about drops, sometimes one, it's just a drop, and sometimes there's a coaching point that you reiterate, off of a drop. And so we'll go through that today. We'll have our conversations in here about it. But, I know he wants, when anytime he comes to a drop, he wants to catch it more than anybody. So if there's a good coaching point, you go over it. If not, you'd say, hey, make sure you work this catch, 10 times more than you would have had you not dropped it. So that's kind of how we go through that.
The play before halftime, why did it not seem with 2 timeouts that there was any option in the middle of the field to maybe get an easier field goal attempt?
Yeah. Again, so you got the ball there at the 30 with 2 timeouts. We're trying to advance it. The way we tried to advance it was to the sideline, and it didn't work. So, we have plays in our offense to be able to advance it without getting too much, in the middle. And then we have plays in our playbook that try to advance it on the sideline. And we chose the one on the sideline, and it didn't work.
Some of the things that went well for the offense, Saquon took some handoffs when Jalen was lined up under center that ended up in some chunk gains. What about those plays in particular worked well, and how do you feel like you can replicate?
Yeah, many different ways that you can create explosives in the run game, under center, in the gun. There's screens that are like runs. There are shovels that are like runs. So there's many different ways to go about it. I think at the end of the day, we got great. There were good schemes, introduced by the coaches, and then there was good execution, right, by the players, and so with really good fundamentals. So, on those particular ones, that's Saquon found some light and was able to get free, and that was huge.
From your perspective, there looked to be, to us at least, some different additions into the offense, and you mentioned the ball going the right way. Is how much of that is trying to get that involved versus Jalen deciding, okay, this is where the football needs to be on a certain play?
Yeah, every time that Jalen has the ball in his hands, he's got to make the decision of where the football goes based off of the read on the play, what the defense is doing, and so I don't think there's anything different as far as that goes. And I've had some of those concepts in before. Did a couple of them a couple different ways to create some explosives, but again, thought there were some things to be encouraged, and obviously we got to. Again, we thought we were explosive as an off. We were more explosive than we won the explosive play battle, I guess is what I'm saying. But you just got to win that turnover battle, and we got to finish drives to get to see the full array of what we want to be on offense.
When it comes to anticipation for the quarterback, how can you guys help him get better at that?
Of anticipating, yeah, it's always about.
With anticipation.
Yeah, it's always about we're constantly talk through and think through. I guess it's like really anything, right? You constantly talk through what your timing is of your footwork, and then you watch the tape when it's on, and you praise when it's on, and you correct when it's off. So that's no different than a receiver in his route, and if their footwork being on and them being in the right spot. So. That's something. That's how you coach it. Is you first of all, your job description is clear with what what the read is, what you want to happen on the play, and then you get into walkthroughs and you get into practice and you correct it or you praise it if it's met. As far as there's different things we could do scheme wise that we have without getting too much into that. But those are all those different things. I thought that he had a lot of good. Throws that he was anticipating, and that was a result of him taking the proper footwork, him going through his read in a great time, and getting to the right guy.
Saquon has said that during the week the vibes at practice and the locker room are really high. but then on Sunday, he's noticed it's been a problem. I was wondering what you see and maybe if you agree why like the good vibes during the week don't seem to be transferring to the sideline on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Sunday is about being locked into what you're doing, and not that Monday, Tuesday that is too. But you're in everybody's in a routine on the sideline, right? It's like the free throw shot. You want to go through your same routine every single time in between series. So sometimes you're focused on the routine, and sometimes it's a result of, hey, it's not going the way you want it to go. There's a difference between being completely focused and locked in when it's not going well. The vibe might be not as high when it's not going well. I mean, I think that's human nature, right? Like, you're not going to be like, yeah, we punted on whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that's natural of that, in the sense of, Stout always says this: execution fuels emotion. And so that's what we're focused on, locked in on, is executing. We're focused on trying to get them in the right, put them in positions to succeed and go from there. And I think that's what happens when I think you'll see more vibe, I guess, to say, as we, because we're confident as we start to execute and coach even better.
Like there were with the reads and the run game for our offense on Sunday, or last Monday, were there more opportunities where Jalen might have had an opportunity to run, just didn't happen in those plays, or just curious about?
Yeah, without getting too much into that, we had some runs called that. Some early on into that football game that we called, and they did a good job of stopping it. So, some of those kind of, as just like you adjust to try to attack things that, you think you can attack, you do that same adjustment for something that might not be working at that particular time. So, hats off to them. They were able to stop some of those types of runs. But, we always want that to be part of our, of who we are and what we do.
What's the personal coaching approach with Jalen after a 4 interception game, 5 years into this? Are you tougher on him, or are you trying to build him up? How do you approach that relationship at this point? Yeah, we know each other well enough that, we're always just doing everything we can do to get better. Won't get too much into that. But, always, like I said earlier, you always praise the things that they do well, and you correct the things that you want them to improve. That's our job as coaches. The tone or the energy or whatever you do, I won't get too much into that, but, everybody, you may not coach everything exactly the same as far as demeanor, or so there's a time to yell, there's a time to bring up, but it always goes back to, and this is, I think there's an art to this. It always goes back to the standard. Did you meet the standard? Did you not meet the standard? And then there's an art to how you correct it in the sense of that, but it's always goes back to the standard. Did you meet it? Great. Did you not? And you're going to praise that. And did you not? Then you correct it.
After review of that last interception, what'd you think of the play call, the execution, and then the decision by Jalen?
Yeah, obviously it didn't work. So, and they got an interception from it. Obviously a really good play by their corner and the safety. The corner did a really good job of midpointing it, and getting his hand on the football and knocking it away. But won't go into, whose fault, what was the fault or anything like that. That's for us in here. And I always respect the job that you guys have to do, but, always keep the things in here of what I thought between us and the players. But, definitely coachable moments for all of us in that particular moment. But great play by them.
Last one?
Nick, what do you make of the Warriors play over the last couple of weeks, and particularly Monday night?
Yeah, I think he's been doing some really good things. Obviously had the big interception we got from the pressure that we got right there, but was in good positions. I always think he's in good position to make plays. Willing tackler, willing to throw his body around to make tackles. And so he's been doing a lot of good things. And I think last week the defense, as a whole did a really good job, and Adorius certainly was a big part of that.
All right. Thanks.
Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.